Growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Hey, I get it. You've worked really hard to build up your business, and it's doing great. So great that you need help now. The most important thing for your business is to hire the right people to support it. So how can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. And with Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, Sponsored Jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. And it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, too, giving business owners access to a wide range of candidates. And one of the things I love most about Indeed is the job alerts feature. I get notified when new candidates apply. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook. This is the Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 151. What?
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host, who can sing every song sung on Saved by the Bell, Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Do you know the secret to businesses that are scaling faster than ever? They're using Upwork to tap into a diverse pool of skilled freelancers across various industries. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts who are ready to help you take your business to the next level. I've personally used Upwork myself and can vouch for it. Posting a job on Upwork is easy. With no cost to join, you can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job post, or even book a consultation. From there, you connect with freelancers that get you and can easily hire them to take your business to the next level. Upwork makes the entire process easier, simpler, and more affordable with industry-low fees. Post a job today and hire tomorrow with Upwork. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help you grow your business. That's Upwork.com. Again, Upwork.com. What's up, everybody? Pat Flynn here, and welcome to session 151 of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. This is so cool, and I just want to thank you all up front really quick because we are at episode 151. We had an amazing first 150 shows, and I cannot wait for the next 150, which start with this one with a great friend, Lain, Ehmann, whose name you might recognize if you've listened to the podcast before, because she was featured in episode 37, so quite a long time ago, a number of years back, and she's done a lot since. But just to refresh your memory, you might have heard me talk about a success story from somebody who was making six figures in the scrapbooking industry. That's Lain, yes, and she still is doing such. And she's helping herself do that by doing virtual conferences. She's putting on very, very successful and very profitable virtual conferences. So that's what today's episode is all about. And this is something that I think a lot of you who are listening to this might be your aha moment. This might be the light bulb going off on your head. Maybe you have an audience already and you've been serving them as much as you can or have the ability to right now, but then this virtual conference thing, you're going to hear what it's all about, what the pros are, what the cons are, and there's a lot of pros for sure. And actually, coming up next month on April 24th, me and Chris Ducker are putting on a virtual conference. It's sort of like a hybrid virtual conference, but live conference. The live conference is being streamed online, and there will be interaction and things like that. So if you want to check that out, you can go to onedaybb.com. B as in boy. So onedaybb.com/live to check out what me and Chris have to offer you there for April 24th. But let's get to this episode with Lain. It's incredible. Just so much information, just like she brought last time. And we're going to hear all about how to put on a virtual conference. Here she is. What's up, SPI community? I'm so excited to bring back somebody who I've referenced probably more than anybody on the SPI blog and podcast. This is Lain Ehmann. You might have heard her in episode 37 of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. Lain, welcome back to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So we posted that episode together of us in episode 37 in April of 2012. And it is currently January 2015, so nearly 3 years later. I'm sure a lot has happened since, and I know a lot has happened since because we have emailed each other, and I wanted to bring you back on to talk about some of those things. So why don't you get us all up to date from where we left off?
Sure. So in that episode, we talked a lot about my niche business, which my primary business at that point was in scrapbooking and around teaching online classes and running virtual events. So that at that point, I think my business had been around for about 2 years or so. And so now I'm well into my 5th year. So I guess I would say at that point it was about 3, and now I'm at about 6 years in business.
Right. And I have to thank you just first of all, before we go on, for that episode, because it's so inspiring to a lot of people. And a lot of people say to themselves before getting into this business or some type of online business, they say, oh, you know what? I don't know what I could do. I have these hobbies, but I just don't think it's possible. And I'm like, check out episode 37, Lain Ehmann, 6 figures, scrapbooking. Need I say more? No. And they listen to it and they love it. So if you haven't listened to that episode, listen to Lain in that one. But let's see what happened since then.
Yeah. So the scrapbooking portion of my business is still chugging away, still a lot of fun, still a lot of stuff to talk about with scrapbooking. The industry as a whole has changed a lot. A lot of our magazines have gone away. We have more people doing scrapbooking in different manners, like photo books and preferring to keep it all online via blogs and things like that. But because my model was really not based on any particular type of scrapbooking, I've really been able to evolve with the industry. So scrapbooking stuff is doing great. And over the last year or so, I've rolled out a new portion of my personal passions, and that's in the area of productivity and mindset coaching. Because I would get all these questions from people, just like you do. How'd you do that? How do you get this done? How do you balance, especially having 3 kids and running the business and all how do you balance it all? How do you do it all? And I really started diving into that. And so that's something that I've been developing over the last 6 months or so. And it's been a lot of fun. It's fun to take that message that I talk about in scrapbooking in terms of things not having to be perfect and, get it on the page, and taking that in a different way, same philosophy to a different audience. So it's really been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed it.
I love that. I love the journey that you've gone through, and congratulations to you on this new path. Although it's sort of it's not like you left the old one, but you just started a new one, which is really cool.
Exactly.
The old website that you talked about in that episode was layoutaday.com. Is that still the best one to get information?
Still where everything is, layoutaday.com. Yep.
Okay. And then your new one about productivity.
Yep. Just Ehmann.com. And people might want to go to the show notes for that because it's kind of hard to spell.
Yeah.
So.
We'll do that. I'll give you the link to the show notes at the end of this episode. But for those of you listening, what is this episode about? This episode is going to be about how to put on a virtual event. Because, Lain, you've done a number of these. And I think a lot of you out there, that you might have an audience that an event would be perfect for, but you're maybe too scared to do an in-person event, or maybe you want to work up toward it. Well, a virtual event is a great way to go. And actually, it could even be more profitable for you because you don't have to have people fly in and do all this stuff. Me and Chris Ducker are doing a live in-person / online event later this year on April 24th as well. So I'm really interested in this information too. We want to put on a good event for people watching in studio with us in person and also those watching online. So tell us about your first experience getting into sort of putting on a virtual event. What gave you the idea to do that, and how did you go about putting that on?
Sure. So first, let me define what I mean when I'm talking about virtual events, just to distinguish them in people's minds from other things out there.
Thank you.
And you and I have talked in the past about webinars and kind of these standalone 1 to 2 hour events that could be termed virtual events. I was thinking more that today we would be talking about these larger scale events, more like conferences. Was that kind of the angle you wanted me to take today?
Absolutely, yes. And thank you for defining that. A webinar could be seen as an online event, and I've called them that before for things like Let Go Day and other things. But yeah, this is like, you want to think about this as a bigger event, conferences, potentially having guest speakers come in and that sort of thing.
Exactly. So that's exactly what the way I describe it is, like a conference that I produce online. And it typically can span anywhere from 5 to 6 hours to 2 days, the ones that I do. It conceivably could be much longer than that. I have found that to be kind of the sweet spot for me, with a preference towards the 1 day. For my virtual events, I'm producing. It's like Lollapalooza or Jingle Ball or something like that, where I'm bringing in a lot of different quote unquote performers and having them perform on my stage. So I describe it like I'm the Bill Graham Presents. It's the Lain Ehmann Presents, where I'm working with the talent and arranging the schedule and setting up the infrastructure. So those instructors or speakers need to just come in, show up, do their thing, and they don't have to worry about anything else. By the same token, the attendee doesn't have to worry about anything else. They know what they're going to get beforehand. And working between those two critical parties or critical stakeholders or shareholders is really where I see my job, making sure both of them have a fantastic time and achieve their personal goals. And that's what differs, I think, between producing an event and being in an event. Because you and I have both been at New Media Expo, where we show up and they tell us what room to go to. They give us our badge. We show up, the microphone's there. It's all set up for us. Mm-hmm. And we don't really think about who had to do that. What time did they have to get there? Right. Did the sound system work? All that kind of thing. When you produce an event, you're the fairy behind the scenes who's flying around like Tinkerbell, making sure all the magic dust is where it needs to be so the whole thing goes off correctly. So when you do it well, it is magic. It really is. You can create this event online that people feel like they know you. They feel like they know the instructors. They feel like they know each other. And it can be as fulfilling, if not more so, than going to a live event. Mm. And there's a lot of reasons for that. So let's talk a little bit about why you might want to do a virtual event versus an in-person event. And yeah, you spoke a little bit about that in terms of the risk factor with having to reserve a hotel. I've been working with a hotel locally here in Scottsdale about an event I want to put on this summer for my scrapbooking crowd, and they require a huge deposit. They want to know they're going to sell X number of rooms and that we're going to spend X number of dollars on food and beverage. And I am on the line for that if it doesn't work out. And we're talking to the tune of, $10,000 to $15,000, and we're only working with maybe 40 people. If you want to put on an event for hundreds of people, you can just imagine and scale that up from there. It is not an inexpensive proposition, and you can lose a significant amount of money if there's an airline strike or there's some kind of other world event, snow, people don't show up, those rooms don't get used. Your credit card as the producer is on the bill for that.
So you're putting on an event for about 40 people, and it's costing about $15,000 to reserve that space. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I actually am negotiating with some other people and looking at some other things because I don't want to do that. I'm not at the point in my business where that is an insignificant amount of money. And we haven't done it enough for me to be able to be 100% certain that I can pull in those people. There's always those unknowns. So with the virtual events, you're talking about holding it online in a virtual room. Those can run anywhere from free, if you go with something like one of the free trials on one of the webinar platforms, up to, I use a really high-powered one. It's Cisco's WebEx Event Center that can hold 500 or more people in it. And that is several $100s a month that I pay. But compare $300 to $15,000, and you can see exactly right there that there's a huge benefit. Then there comes in the issue of travel. My market in particular, I have a lot of women, a lot of moms, and it's difficult for them to get away. And I've found overall, no matter what market you're in, people don't necessarily want to travel if they can get the same experience without having to get on a plane, without having to stay in a hotel room. It just lowers the barrier to entry, and it cuts their costs down. Right. So that's significant as well. Another thing is bringing in international audiences. I have routinely people from Asia and New Zealand, Australia, Canada, Hawaii, Alaska, Europe, all, and not to mention North America, all in our room at the same time. The time zone's a little bit of an issue, but it's nothing compared to asking somebody to fly from Australia up to America for a weekend event. Mm-hmm. So you pull a wider range of people in. And that's really exciting as well, to get that worldwide international experience.
Very cool.
So we've got the cost side of things. We don't have to worry about coffee. Is the room too cold? Is the room too hot? We don't have to worry about how many hotel rooms.
Wi-Fi connections
at $15, $20, $50 a person. It gets insane. The numbers can really go up very, very fast. So cost is obviously a huge issue. More appealing to people because they don't have to travel. Also, you can pull in a huge range of instructors. So on some of my events, I've had as many as 15 instructors. The smaller events might have 5 to 6. But I'm able to pull in these instructors, again, from Australia and from Canada and from Europe, who might not be able to travel, or I might not be able to afford to pay them to come here to show up in an event. But it really takes an hour to 2 hours of their time versus asking them to invest a whole weekend or more if they're coming from further away.
That's huge.
So that is huge, because I can honestly say when I'm promoting my events, you have never seen these people be together before. And oftentimes when you go to live events, sometimes it's kind of the same, the usual suspects. We see a lot of the same names and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You can really create a unique event. And that is spectacular as well, to pull in people that, instructors that people might not have heard or might not have heard together, is really allows you to present something unique. That's cool. Really wonderful too.
So I'm keeping track of I'm keeping notes here on certain questions about these sort of things.
Why don't we pause there and you ask some questions?
Okay, let's stay on guests right now. I think it's really cool that you could get anybody in the world to come in if they're available, of course, just for those short periods of time when they might have to be presenting and stuff. How do you reach out to those people? I think a lot of them might expect to get paid for some of their time. Do you pay them for their time? How does that sort of deal work out?
I do pay my instructors. I think that's really critical, not only to get quality instructors, but also I feel better about the event if because I think they're professionals, they deserve to be paid for that. So for the scrapbooking events that I do, typically it depends on if I've worked with companies before, like manufacturers who become sponsors of the event. And then there's a different arrangement. But if I'm working with an individual instructor, so Pat Flynn's going to show up at our next scrapbooking event, and he's going to be teaching us how to add audio to our scrapbooks with these cool recorders that, he's invented somehow. So
or macrame. I could do macrame.
Exactly. You're going to be teaching macrame on scrapbooking pages. Then if you're showing up as an individual, you become an affiliate for the event. So you promote the event to your audience, and then I have an affiliate share situation where every ticket, kind of standard affiliate share, where every ticket you sell through your link, you get a share of. Some of my instructors are newer, so they may not have an audience yet. And I give them the option of getting a flat fee instead of the affiliate commission. They're still required by contract that I have an agreement with them. I still require them to promote because that's critical. But I do give them the option of being able to just take a flat fee. And then I actually basically purchase, it's work for hire, and I purchase their content from them. So that lets me get some really new faces who might say, you know what, I don't think I have more than 5 people read my blog, but I would love to do this for you, Lain, and I've got some great stuff to teach. And it lets me discover people, and you'll see people who you might not have seen elsewhere. Again, it's really exciting when I can share those instructors with people.
That's really cool. Do you have any tips for anybody looking to just find help on coordinating with these guests? Do you use specific tools or apps to organize that? Do you have any tips on perhaps order of your guests to make sure people leave with excitement, and do you pay attention to where people are in your program?
I don't pay attention to where they are in the program as much as I pay attention to the content. So I tell them, when I invite them, I give them an initial invitation via email, or if it's somebody that I know more casually in terms of like we've got a friendship, then the invitation wouldn't be as formal. But it'd just say, hey, you may have heard about these events I produce. We've been doing them for these many years. I've worked with instructors like yada, 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 name drop some people so they will know that I'm legit. And I'm planning our next event for like October is our big broad scrapbooking event, the biggest one in terms of content that we have. So if I would love to talk with you about this, as see if you might be interested in teaching. It typically requires this, and this in terms of the requirements. Let me know what you think, and I'd love to give you more info. And then I'll send that out, and that I pretty much have 100% response, yes or no on that. Like I very rarely do I not get a response. I'll either get a response that says, this sounds great, send me more info, or I'm sorry that I just can't do it that weekend, or I'm working with a company that requires me to be exclusive to them. I can't teach for anybody else right now. But I typically do get responses almost 100% of the time, I would say. Nice.
Thank you for that. And in terms of the events that you put on, you said you do like a 2-day event, you said? How many guest speakers would you have for about a 2-day event?
I've actually moved down to 1-day events only because I've found that people prefer them in terms it lowers the cost point for the attendee and it requires less of a time commitment. So all my events now are 1 day, and they might range from 5 to 8 instructors. And then a 2-day event would be anywhere up to 15 or more, 15 to 16. And each instructor has a 1-hour time slot. So that's kind of how I gauge the time. So 15 instructors would be 15 hours of class time.
Perfect. And then how soon in advance of the event are you contacting these guests?
I started contacting people for the October event. I started lining up some of the people I knew I wanted to return as soon as last October's was over. So I have a couple people already on the hook. And sometimes I'll ask them in front of the audience. If it's somebody I know, I want to have them come back. I'll say, hey, did you guys love this? Wouldn't you love to hear so-and-so? Wouldn't you love to have Pat come back and teach us more on advanced macrame
Yeah.
next year? And then everybody says yes. And then I will immediately follow up and say, I got you down. They of course could still turn me down, but,
Right.
but hey, you got 300 or 400 people in the room saying, please come back. We want more. I mean, how do you say no to that? So, but the people who are newer, I'm starting basically now for October. So, again, with travel, you might have to book people a year further in advance.
Right.
Because this is online, I won't have a finalized schedule till probably April, May, but it'll be a good 4, 5, 6 months beforehand. And that's built out over time. The first time I did this, I did not have that much lead time. It was more like, I think I'll do this in a couple months. Let's put on a show. So people who are thinking about doing this for the first time should not feel like, well, it's already too late. I'm already way off game because I don't have, I haven't started. So you can pull it together more quickly online.
Yeah, I think me and Chris, for our event happening in April, we gave ourselves about 6 or 7 months, and we thought that was plenty, but it is plenty fast as far as the time that's going by. So, I mean, we're on top of it, but we're feeling it too. So we're really excited about that. You can get more information about that at onedaybb.com. But a couple other questions about that. If somebody's really interested in this, which you probably are by now, and what are the first steps? Is the first step to get guests, or is there something that happens before that in terms of structuring your day and what it might be like?
Yeah. I think the first step is to decide on what's missing in your industry. What is your market need that it's not getting? And for the scrapbooking market, for me, there used to be a ton of local scrapbook stores. There used to be tons of opportunities to hear teachers teach. They would travel around the country. There were a lot of scrapbooking events. Those are going away. The scrapbook stores are going away. The magazines are going away. People don't have that place to connect and to see these scrapbookers that they may have previously learned from in magazines or in other formats. And so I wanted to produce something that would bring together the best of online education with the best of in-person education to provide that community, that connection between student and between student and teacher. And that's what I was going after, that experience. And for another market, it might be completely different. If you're in a niche where, let's say, there hasn't really been any standardized education, it's a fairly new like the food truck industry. I bet there's not a ton of food truck conferences out there. And if somebody's running a food truck, they may have a hard time getting away. Mm-hmm. That would be perfect for a virtual event.
It is something we've actually talked about internally. There's one main conference and then a few sort of satellite conferences around that, but nothing online, that's for sure. So.
Yeah. And so that's what you need to decide is, what can I do that's going to add to my industry's overall development, and what's going to be different. I never want to do something that's like an also ran or a me too. I'm always trying to come up with the next thing that's new for people. That's just my role. Even if you want to do something in an industry where there are a lot of online events, what can you do that's going to be different? And that's where I think people should start.
Love it. Okay, great. We're talking about a lot of great stuff here. You mentioned people to people, so student to student, mm-hmm. and student to teacher, and the interaction. I think that's one of the best things about going to an event in person is you get to see them, you get to shake their hand and hug them at cocktail hour, which is, I don't know, some people get really crazy with that. But that, I feel, is something that's missing in the online virtual event space. How do you truly get that interaction in a virtual room?
It can be missing, and this is why this is one of the reasons why I opt for the super duper extra stratosphere powered event center.
That was a WebEx event center, right?
And they also have a meeting center or a meeting room or something. I can't remember the name of it, but they do have a lower, less lower functionality room at a lower price tag. Just for me, I needed the event center because of the number of people I have. It allows the chat in the room, and not audio chat, but it's got a chat box. And so that chat will go so fast. So to give you an idea on the size of my events, on our webinars that we have, we call them scrapinars. Once a month, we host a free 1-hour scrapinar. We might have 2,000 people register and close to 500 people show up. Usually it's about 25% who show up live. Mm-hmm. Wow. For the paid events, we could have anywhere up to about 500-ish people register, and we'll have 200 to 300 who are in the room at any given time. A good number of them are chatting with each other. And the instruction is going on one part of the screen, and they're in the room talking about, like, where'd you get, I've been looking for that punch, or do you know you're in Alaska, I'm in Alaska too. Where's our closest Michael's? Or, there's just tons of chat going on, and they love that. So there are some web rooms that do not provide for that chat. Mm-hmm. So that is critical for my audience. Another thing is that we host, we call it the pre-event PJ party. It's just the night before. It's when the instructors all show up to do their mic sound checks. We have like a 2-hour open session where all the attendees can come in too and just get used to the room. We'll usually have some prizes. We'll do a little bit of getting to know you. Where are you? Just chatting.
Wow, that's really cool. I love that idea.
Yeah, it is so fun because a lot of these people have been dying to connect with other scrapbookers, and they haven't been able to because either the area they live in it's not realistic for them. Mm-hmm. They just, maybe they're shy. They might go to a scrapbook store, go to a class somewhere, but it's not as freeing and open. And you know how open people feel when they're behind their keyboard, but open in a good way, where they feel like they can make a comment and feel like they're on even ground with everybody else. We also do a Facebook event page beforehand, so people can register and say that they're coming, and then meet other people beforehand that way. We just try to look at little things like that to make those connections between people. There's a couple other things we do that are kind of specific to our industry, like creating a Flickr gallery so people can share their products afterwards and show what they've been doing and what they did with the content they learned. Things like that.
Love it. This is golden information, by the way, and thank you so much. This is actually helping out me and Chris so much.
Good. It's my pleasure. I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have him listen to this audio even before it goes live because we're Chris. In the middle of planning. Yeah. Anyway, this is so cool. Okay, you mentioned tickets a couple times. Mm-hmm. What technology are you using to serve those tickets?
I know that GoToWebinar has an integration that will pull in your email list, and there's a lot of different functions that GoToWebinar has that I'm not using currently. I just set up a registration page, and people just it's operated through PayPal, and then they get subscribed to an email list, and then I stay in contact with them via an AWeber email list. And that's where I send them all their information. We create what we call a call guide, but I don't know why we called it. It's one of those things that we've been calling it the same thing for 3 or 4 years. So now the name's stuck. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's the program. We have a written PDF document that has all the classes, the class description, the link to where they'll go, the schedule of the day, what they can do if they have problems accessing the web room. All that information is in that. Again, we call it call guide. It's more like a program. And we send that out beforehand so people can print that out if they want or just have it on their computer. But we communicate with them through email, through an email list.
Perfect. Thank you. In terms of ticket price, how do you best determine the price for a virtual event, which probably has a lot more upside because you're not paying so much for the venue and all that stuff, but can you have too much of an upside? How do you determine what that perfect price is so you get the maximum amount of sales and also profit?
Right. A lot of it is going to be experimentation, just like pricing. I mean, when it's virtual, there's a lot more of a spread, a lot more of a spectrum that you'll see. I have an idea of at this point, after I've done a dozen of these over the last 3 or 4 years, I've got a pretty good idea of what my hard costs are in terms of, I know my monthly costs for the web room. I know what my my payment processing costs are. I know what my VA is costing me. I know what kind of support I'm going to need. I hire somebody, and this is critical. This is a sidebar here, but this one's big. I'm going to write it down as a tip also, because I'm sure at the end you'll ask me anything else. But having staff in the room to help you out, just somebody, some kind of customer support person who can help you out. I know what all those costs are, so I know what I need to make on the event to cover all that. But when I first started, there was a lot of experimentation. I didn't know what people would be willing to pay, and this was new. So I always kind of position it as, when I'm doing something like that, hey, you get to get in on the ground floor. I am charging way below what I know this is worth, because I know it's a risk for you. But typically, like, we've got an event coming up at the end of January, and the on the page, like, retail rate or whatever is $149 for 7 instructors, but we offered that as low as $59 if we could get people in December to sign up for that. So they were saving like $90 off the registration rate just to get those early people in, because it was a brand new event. We've done events like it before, but it was a new topic within the larger scrapbooking arena, and we weren't sure how it was going to play with people. So we wanted to get a good base of people in to cover those hard costs, and then we've charged more since then. So for the big event in October, the ticket price, the registration price, whatever you want to say, will be about $199, and then there will be specials running up before the event, depending on how soon beforehand people sign up. And sometimes we do, instead of dollars off, we'll do a bonus, like you buy this and you'll get this for free, limited time offers, getting people to commit earlier, just because we want to know we're going to have X number of people, and we can't really sell out. So,
Right.
So we just want to cover those costs, and then everything else beyond that is going to be profit.
So you say $199, and you say that sometimes you get 500 people registered.
Yeah.
So you guys can do the math, but that's, pretty much 6 figures for one event with only 500 people. I mean, that's not that impossible.
No, it isn't. And especially if the instructors you've chosen are good promoters. And that's always a mixed bag too. And sometimes I weigh the person with great content and a small reach versus the person who's got a great reach, but maybe people have seen a lot of them. So, so they might not, they have that bigger reach, but they might not, they're all great instructors. I would never ask anybody who wasn't, but maybe they've been seen a lot of other places.
Right.
So
that's great. I mean, that's awesome. I think this is going to be very, very motivating for a lot of people. Now, in terms of promoting and marketing the event, you had mentioned having some of your speakers help to promote, or all of them, which I think is really smart.
Yeah.
What else are you doing to help promote and market this event? And to start this off, how soon before the event are you actually promoting it?
So right now we have an event at the end of March, and just today, and I should have done this about a week or two ago, but it got done today before the middle of the month. So I'm counting it as early January, which was my goal. I've created the interest list. So I'm creating a list where I can start talking about the event and say, hey, if you're interested in this, sign up here, because we're going to give you a special deal. You'll be the first people who get to get in, and we'll release all the class names and topics and everything as soon as it's available. You guys will be the first to know. So I have created that today, and I will start announcing. And yesterday I emailed the people who had attended this event the last 2 years and told them to save the date. So, so I'm starting now promoting for the end of March, just because December, you can't really promote much for the coming year. So ideally it would be about 3 months, just telling people, hey, this is coming, starting to talk about it. But with December, we push that into January. For the October event, we'll start hard in August, probably. So, 2 months, 2.5 months, I would say.
Okay.
Again, it doesn't have to be the same as if people are trying to get a good flight or get a hotel room.
Right.
People who go into South by Southwest probably have their their plans firmed up a year and a half in advance. So
Right. And then after the interest list, how do you promote? And I know there's, obviously scarcity is huge in online marketing, but with a virtual event, it's not quite as easy. Do you do, and it sounds like you already kind of answered this, price increases over time leading up to the, can you give us sort of a little bit of a structure on how that works?
Sure. And again, this is going to depend on your market. And something I should say on pricing too is being able to justify whatever your price is against a competitor or against the next likeliest trade-off. So I position mine against a live event. And I say, you know what? You don't have to fly anywhere. You don't have to get a hotel room. You don't have to buy food. You don't have to get a babysitter. You're saving in all these places. And if you took a class from each of these instructors, it would easily be $30 or $40. So for a 7-person event, I'm positioning myself against what would have cost $280, $300, not counting flight and all these other things. Mm-hmm. So when you do that, then $99, $150, it's a bargain. And I record everything so people get access to all the recordings as part of their registration package. So you go to a live event, it's in one ear. Maybe you captured some of it, it's out the other. Maybe you get an opportunity to buy the recordings for an added fee. But this is all in one. You can go back and watch this over and over again and as many times as you would like. So I really have it positioned well that they're getting these benefits at a lower cost. So then it seems very reasonable.
Yeah, I love the idea of the recordings. I've been a part of conferences before where they sold those in addition to, and I've also been a part of conferences and as an attendee of ones that just give it to me. And I love being able to go back and rewatch something, or knowing that I perhaps missed something, I can go back and get that later. Or it just makes me feel better even during that whole day event, knowing that I can miss something and be able to get it again later. If that's included, that's huge value add right there.
Oh, yeah. And I hate being, as a consumer, I hate being nickeled and dimed. Pay for parking, pay for this. I would rather have it all built in and feel like once I pay, I'm done. So I love that. So we were talking about promotion. So so the instructors will promote, and I will create a whole swipe file for them of, you could call it, I don't know, resource guide or whatever, where I'll give them sample blog posts. I'll give them sample Facebook status updates. I'll give them sample tweets and say, just stick your affiliate code in here. And I also will send that out to my affiliates as well and say, here, this is going on. This is what we're doing. And, this is content for you to use to promote. So we'll do that. For our last event in October, I also did a series of chats on Spreecast. And if people aren't familiar with that, it's basically like a Google Hangout, but a little more secure and structured, I guess you could say. But it's free for people to attend. They just need a Facebook login. And I would just do informal chats. I would say, hey, tell us about your class coming up. Tell us about the coolest thing that you have discovered about scrapbooking in the last year, just informal talks content that might not be covered in their class, but lets people get to know them. And that was a lot of fun. And then also last time we did an experiment, we did a Kindle book where I had each instructor write a little bit, just to answer a series of questions about their class and about their scrapbooking style. And this could easily translate over to any industry. What's your best business? It's like the questions, the best business tip. If you had to start over with no money, what would you do? I mean, it could be anything like that for any industry. But then I just compiled them and we gave it away for a significant period of time on Kindle. And then it became a paid, like a 99-cent or $1.99 ebook or something like that. But that was real. That was different. That was something people hadn't seen in our industry before. And so it got some interest there.
That's cool. In terms of your affiliates, what percentage of the ticket sales would you say come from affiliates?
I would say that counting the instructors, I would say 75% maybe.
Wow, okay.
So it's a good number. But there's also a significant that are coming from me directly. It might not, it's going to depend on the event. This new event we're doing in January, I probably have a higher portion direct to me. But yeah, I would say it's well over half.
And then what program or programs are you using to help manage that? Because I know that is a big question that a lot of people are going to have.
Right. I'm in the middle of transitioning, but right now I'm using eJunkie, which is great because it's very inexpensive from my end.
Yeah.
My affiliates tell me it's not as easy for them to use. So I'm looking at some other options now because I would like to make it easier for them.
And I can attest to that on both sides as well. Because I've used eJunkie for a while. And now I'm getting familiar with Gumroad. I know there's some other affiliate-specific programs you can use, some that are specific for WordPress. I mean, maybe in the future, once you land on one that's good, you can come back and I can just insert that in the show notes or something for everybody if you find one that works for you.
Yes, that would be great.
Have you thought about, because Chris and I are using Eventbrite to manage our program, and there are fees involved with that, but a lot of things are taken care of. They even have a built-in affiliate program too. You could check out that Eventbrite page actually at onedaybb.com/live. Have you used Eventbrite before or something like it?
I haven't. And that's something that I've been considering just because it handles certain tasks that then I wouldn't have to. My concern with it is that my scrapbooking audience isn't always on the forefront comparatively to internet marketers or online business owners. They're not at the forefront of technology. So if I'm already asking them to try this web room thing, I didn't want to put up too many barriers to entry, but I think Eventbrite is getting to the point now where it is more widespread, so people are comfortable with it. I just didn't want people not coming because there were too many technological hoops for them to jump through.
Yeah, love it. I'm really glad you said you just knew that was the case for your audience. You should absolutely always know who your audience is and what kind of people they are and what they respond to. As well. So that's really smart. Final question here, unless you have anything else to add afterwards, Lain. This has just been amazing. Thank you again for sharing all of this. Some people are going to build businesses in the next year using your model, and this is just going to change their lives. This is so great. Thank you again. What are the biggest mistakes that people will make so that they know they can avoid them?
There's always going to be a technological glitch, either on the payment side, your WordPress blog goes down the day you open up registration, your email list disappears. There's always going to be something that goes wrong. And I remember the first event I did, and it was in April of 2011, first big one like this. I remember, and I'm not a crier at all. I was in tears because the web room, I wasn't using WebEx at that time. I was using this web room where they had sold me on these capabilities that didn't exist. So they said, oh yeah, we can handle it. So I was having people try to log in and they were getting bumped back out, and it was horrible. It was horrible. And I didn't have a plan B because it was the first one I'd done. So just expect things to go wrong and expect to have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. So I always have 47 different ways to get the information out, to contact my audience, to run the event. I've always got a backup for basically everything. And just like if I were hosting this at the Hyatt, I'm there to solve those problems. And I remind myself, this is one of those mantras, I remind myself that I get paid for those hard times. The times when everything's going easy, I'm working for free. The time I'm earning my money is the time when everything's exploding and I have to problem solve and have the calm head. And that has helped me a lot over time.
Thank you for that. That's going to help me and Chris too, and everybody else out there listening. So thank you for that, Lain. Did we miss anything big?
I wanted to mention just two things. One is having staff in the room actively with you, helping you out, because you're going to need links to certain things. People are going to say, you're going to mention something that you had no idea you're going to mention. Maybe it's one of your products or something you're an affiliate for, and you don't want to have to be the one digging up that link. So have a VA or some kind of assistant or a friend who's there to help out with that kind of stuff. That's number one. Number two is during the event, I used to teach at the events as well as produce them. Now I almost exclusively am the host. And that's how I see my role as the master or mistress of ceremonies, where I'm greeting the people as they come in the room and I'm welcoming the instructor. And again, playing that role between the instructor and the attendee and making sure everybody's okay. It's just like walking around freshening their drinks and things like that. I really take that role very seriously. And again, that's my value add, because people will tell me, oh my gosh, you just made it so comfortable and so fun. I felt so welcome, both on the instructor side and the student side. And they feel confident even if something goes wrong because they know I'm there to handle it. And I'll tell them that up front. I'll say, you know what? We can't control technology. When it works, it's great. We love it. If something goes wrong, trust me, we will make it right. And people believe that because I've shown that to them over and over, and they see my face. I'm consistent. I'm the consistent presence throughout the whole event. And to me, it was too much to try to teach and do that role at the same time. So I chose to take that role of the producer or the host instead.
Love it. I think that's a perfect way to end this. Lain, thank you so much for all of your help and information. You said there was 2 things. Did we cover those 2 things, or was there one more?
Just the staff having somebody there to help you out.
And then your role.
Your role.
Got it.
Choose your role, whatever you want that to be.
Just want to make sure we got it all, because this isn't like a little thing that's just you're gonna put together tomorrow and then it'll be done. This is like a big deal. And I think we've covered a lot of the major points and even a lot of the smaller ones too. So I think people are well equipped to move forward and do this for their brand and their community too. So thank you again, Lain, for all that help. Where can people get more information about what you're up to?
They can find me a couple of places. Layoutaday.com is the scrapbooking stuff. If you go over there, it's all scrapbooking all the time. So don't expect to find any business stuff. So if you don't want it scrapbooking, don't go there. But you can come to lainehmann.com, and I'll spell it for you now. LAINEHMANN.com, lainehmann.com. And that's where I have all my productivity, mindset, business coaching, personal coaching, that kind of stuff there, motivation, inspirational stuff. And also, if you have questions about this, people can always find me on Facebook at facebook.com/lainehmann. And that's my personal page, and they can track me down there, and I can refer them to whichever one of my other pages might be of most interest to them.
Awesome. Thank you for offering that. And we'll make sure to have all the links in the show notes mentioned right after we hang up here. Lain, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and all the best of luck to you. I can't wait to connect with you again, hopefully not in 3 years, but before that, and just hear about some even more amazing things that you're up to.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Pat.
All right. Thank you. All right, I hope you enjoyed that episode with Lain Ehmann. Again, you can check her out at layoutaday.com and also lainehmann.com, EHMANN, although probably be easier for you to come back to the blog and check out the show notes to get all the links there. You can go to smartpassiveincome.com/session151. Thank you, Lain. I know you listen to the show. You are amazing as always. We always appreciate your help. Just so inspiring. I mean, it's sort of like a joke in the internet world to say like, oh, scrapbooking, you can make 6 figures by knitting or whatever, but you're actually doing it. And so well done, and I'm just so inspired, and I know everybody else is too, especially for this idea of putting on a virtual event. So if any of you out there are listening to this and are inspired, head on over to smartpassiveincome.com/session151. I want to hear what your plans are. Do you think you're going to start a virtual conference of some sort? Well, check it out, because all the links are there as well to help you get started. I hope you've been enjoying the free podcast content here. I'm really excited because it's one of my favorite things to do, and I know a lot of you have already taken action from the content that you've listened to on the podcast. And if that's you, congratulations. Just keep going, please. It's one of my favorite things to see. But I also know a lot of you, and a lot of you have been telling me that you've been wanting more. You've been wanting additional information, some accountability, some hand-holding along the way. And so depending on what it is that you're looking for, what I would recommend is actually go to smartpassiveincome.com/courses. You'll see the courses that I'm offering there that are paid courses, but they're there to help walk you through certain processes. Depending on what problem you have or what issue or what thing you're trying to solve, go there, check it out. You can see if there's a course available for you and where you're at in your business right now, whether you're just getting started and you just want to make sure you have all the right things in place before you actually devote a lot of time and effort into something. There's a course for you there. For those of you looking to get started with a podcast, there's stuff for you there. And there's going to be more courses there in the future. And how do I come up with those ideas for the courses? They come directly from you. So thank you for all telling me how I can help you better. And if you have ideas for more courses that I can create for you, just hit me up on Twitter at Pat Flynn. Let me know, or use my contact page on smartpassiveincome.com. But again, check out and see what's available. smartpassiveincome.com/courses. That will be continually added to over time. So check it out. Thanks so much. I also want to thank audiobooks.com. They were actually the first sponsor ever of the Smart Passive Income podcast back in the 90s. Not the 90s like the year's 90s, but the 90s in the episodes. And they believed in the show. They were the first one to prove that it was totally worth it to just have these spots here at the end to help pay for the show and to help pay for the people who helped put together the show. So thank you, audiobooks.com. And they're back. They're back to sponsor. So if you go to audiobooks.com, they have a really cool deal for you, actually. audiobooks.com/SPI, you'll get to download my book, Let Go, a bestseller on Amazon, the audiobook of that for free. You'll get that plus an additional credit to download any other book that you'd like. Their first audiobook is on them. So if you like the service, you can enjoy a new book every month after that. You also get to choose from more than 50,000 titles, including top-rated business books written by leaders and innovators in the field. And they have a smartphone and tablet app that'll help you with all that good stuff. So again, go to audiobooks.com/SPI and you'll get that special deal only available here. You can only download the audiobook for free here, which is really cool. So again, audiobooks.com/SPI. Thank you guys. I appreciate your time. And again, these show notes are at smartpassiveincome.com/session151. Let me know what you think of the show. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground. Legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free, personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands. I get it. You want to grow your business, but selling at scale feels overwhelming. You're drowning in complicated funnels, creating different lead magnets, or constantly posting on social media. And that gets exhausting fast, especially when you're trying to sell to hundreds or thousands of people. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? A score app quiz or assessment asks your audience key questions and gives them instant personalized results based on their answers. Your audience gets to know where they are now and shows them the steps they need to hit their goals. You can set up a quiz in minutes using Score App's templates and have a powerful lead magnet that'll do the selling for you. The best part is your audience actually wants to take this quiz, and you build huge amounts of trust before you even make a single offer. No hard sales, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. Just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI.